I started analyzing and becoming an expert on why I failed.
Yeah.
And I failed in operations, marketing, sales, all of it. So if you made a mistake, I've made something very similar.
And most people will make a mistake in one of the areas.
Yeah, I made all of them. Tax Size business partners with Kevin O'Leary, and one of his comments in business, poo-poo happened. And to me, everything happened. And poo-poo happened for me in all of things business. But I analyzed and I said, well, what was my number one mistake? And what I found is my number one mistake is I stopped building relationships in business. I stopped because I was knee deep in crocodiles. I had this friend that was like, hey, come over here to this event. It's a great meetup. Why don't you come to that? You can build relationships. You can, and I stopped doing that. I felt like I was on top of the world and I had all this pride. And I was like, I'm the man.
Too big.
Yeah. And I realized that every empire built it with relationships of other people.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs,
Yep.
Wozniak. I
Get
mean,
a
every
circle.
single one. And I was like, that's my number one mistake. That's what I've been doing wrong the most. And so I made it literally a covenant that day that I was going to build relationships with people, and I was going to get very comfortable with being uncomfortable and going up to random strangers. And I went out and reached out. The first thing I tell people to do is reach out to your phone. You probably have thousands of people that you've made a contact in there. I reached out to mine. I connected with two guys that were really successful. And I sat down with them, and I ultimately built a relationship with them. They became my partners, and we went on this crazy run because it was nuts. Seeing two people that were really connected, bring all their relationships to the table, and their relationships to the table, money started flowing in like I'd never made in my life.
Yeah.
And all this money came in, and over the next 12 months, I was able to pay back the 1.5. It was like 2.2 by the time I paid everyone back a return because I didn't want to have to face them again if I couldn't pay. So I was like, I'm not going to do that again and handle that. So we were able to pay them all off.
Well, your word is your law.
Yeah.
And you told them that you were going to take their money, invest it, and give them a return.
Yeah.
Might not have hit the time frame, but you made sure that they got their return.
Yeah, exactly. And I still remember going through that
way you could
stress,
always go
seeing
back
their
to them
face.
at some point.
I met with them. I told them I would, they had faith in me and that their dollars were hard earned.
Yeah.
And that's a difficult thing.
When you had integrity.
Yeah.
You want to be able to sleep at night and go to your next business venture and say, look, I failed in a business venture, but I did pay every single penny back, and I did pay the return I promised.
Yeah. Yep.
Because that's all you have.
That's right.
Is your reputation.
And they knew this. They knew we were struggling.
Your reputation, your Rolodex.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep. And so that was so important. But they knew I was struggling. They knew. That's probably why they let me buy him out, too, because they were like, okay, he was on death's door not too long ago. I want to just take my money and take the chips off the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my first kind of foray into business.
So you're the second person I've had on the podcast. My friend Nate Lowry owns Bjork Builders.
I've met him before.
So Nate's a great guy.
Yeah.
And we came on, I thought we were going to talk about construction, and we ended up talking about like mindset and relationships, but he said something that you just said and reiterated. So if you watch the podcast, if you listen to it on Spotify or Apple or whatever, this is the second time you're hearing it. So themes are important for success, right? He said people are your most important asset.
Amen.
And you're talking about relationships for building your business. He was talking about hiring and the people that you bring onto your team. So like when you look at running your business, you can have machinery and you can have, it's things that you invest in and stuff like that, but your people are your most important asset.
Yeah, you're in the real estate business, but really it's a people business, right? There's humans behind it all.
Yeah, and we just were talking before this about the social media and the digital stuff, and commercial real estate is really like still old school, but people are starting to find this, I can magnify my network by using LinkedIn and Twitter and all this stuff, but there's still the aspect, and I think they've done a good job of learning how to leverage these technologies to meet all these people. Like Chris introduced me and you, did a Zoom call, but this is this takes it to the next level.
100%.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Leary wrote a book called The Digital Divide, and it's all about how the old school mentality of not telling your story, you're going to get left behind, and there's going to be a bigger and bigger gap between people who aren't willing to lean into AI, lean into technology, and ones that are just left behind.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, Want to catch the entire episode of this Rent Stew podcast? Click right here. If you're loving the Rent Stew podcast and you want to see more episodes, click right here. And as always, stay hungry, my friends.